playlist. If you go to my watch history, it's just cats falling off microwaves specifically. No other object.
Welcome to Game Rushmore. My name is Aaron, hosting today. And with me,
it's Josh.
Brandon.
Mike.
It's almost Halloween.
Yes.
I went to a haunted house. I was so excited.
Oh my gosh.
For Halloween.
Which one did you go to?
So it's one that's about 5 minutes from here.
Mm-hmm.
Normally we go to one that's way on the other side of town, and it's great. This one, not as great, but still fun. It's called Sanctum of Horror.
Oh.
Mm. And it started off as a ma and pa operation that just kind of has been getting bigger and bigger. It was a lot of fun. Lots of gore and viscera, so it delivered on that end.
Good.
More than the 13th floor.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not as much as Fear Farm.
Yeah.
But the story was basically PT, and it had a very PT thing at the beginning because you're in this hallway and there's a radio and a thunderstorm, and the radio tells you the story of murder in the house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good open.
It is, yeah. And it was very PT-ish in that sense. So I was honestly waiting for Lisa to like appear behind me or something, but she didn't. But in one of the rooms, though, they had this girl who's a contortionist doing like the crab walk towards you. And it was like, oh, this is really cool. So, yeah, I mean, it was worth it. I enjoyed it. And then the other one was Alien Infestation.
I'm not into alien like haunted houses things.
I'm not either, but like there was this one room. It was a surgical room, and the guy who was the doctor, this portly fellow with a jolly mustache, seemed like a very happy individual. Was the doctor? He was great. He was super funny, and he just like followed us around forever. And yeah, that was probably the highlight.
I went to this haunted house. It was hilarious.
What?
I got off my shift at the hospital, and I went to this haunted house.
It was hilarious.
I met this guy.
But
it's my jolly friend.
Not as good as the ones that we normally go to.
The expensive ones.
But for what it was, I really liked it.
And it was like $20, right?
Yeah, it was for two, which was nice. So it was like $11.
That's a good price for a haunted house.
I'd go to that haunted house. I wonder if they change it up every year.
I think this is the second year that it's been around. So like last year, it won all these awards. So
the third year.
Well, they had some cooler animatronics than some of the other ones that I've been to, which is cool. Because the very end of the Alien one, you're like walking by and there's this tent, and then this giant alien head goes out of it, and it's like rah, 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 and its mandibles are like rah.
Mandibles.
So
was it insecty thing?
Yeah, it was. And I wanted to pet it because it was super fluffy. But I didn't want to get in trouble.
Yeah. They probably frown on people petting their mandibled alien.
And also something broke in there because like we were standing in line for like 30 minutes and there was not a large crowd at this, which was also really nice. And we're just standing. We're just like, I don't know, we're just like dumping on Donald Trump or something for like 30 minutes. And then like this guy comes out and he's all like hot and bothered. And he's like not in costume or anything. And he's just like, guys, I'm the director. Something broke. I'm really sorry. And he's like, what happened was, and he goes silent for a second. He's like, I better not say. I just have to just excuse his technical difficulties. So I'd like to think that the alien animatronic head came alive. And they had to contain it.
I'd like to think that the alien animatronic head was their backup. And they had a real alien.
Oh, man. I didn't even think of that.
Who has escaped and is now in the area.
It's more plausible.
Like, so what happened is, well, you know what? Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Lock your doors, guys.
Just do me a favor. Don't tell the government what's going on. Not that you would.
It's a safe neighborhood.
The last great thing about this maze, though, no dark corridors. which
Like
I
pitch
hate.
black ones.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is pitch black. You have to feel your way around or something like that. That's not. It's not scary. It's
You usually
It's
end
annoying.
up grabbing
just a stranger.
a stranger, or even worse, somebody who works there who's supposed to jump out of the shadows and yell at you, and you reach over and they're like,
yell at you.
well, that's what they do. But you reach over and then it's a guy. It's like, that's me. Like, oh,
Well, the
well,
worst.
now I know you're here.
It's just me.
The worst though
No
is
touching.
when we went to the Rob Zombie one, and they had that maze that was all pitch black, and they had people in there that were supposed to jump you, and I'm sitting there like feeling for the walls, and then I feel like something fleshy and squishy, and then it's like one of the actors, and he's like, "Oh, let go," and then I guess he was trying to jump in front of me, but I headbutted him.
Ouch.
And I was seeing stars, and then I came out, and Josh is like, "You have makeup all over your forehead," because I like clocked the guy so hard. It was like,
Mike jumped some guy in the dark
I
maze.
was like, "Give me your money."
Also, in
If-
that one, we got stuck at a point where where it wasn't clear that you were
couldn't
supposed to go
find-
through
yeah.
a narrow
Oh,
passageway.
That's right.
And so people were like, it was like us and like two other groups that were just like, what are we supposed to do? We're all like right next to each other and be like, well,
I forgot about that.
did we
Looks like
miss a
we're-
turn? What happened?
If I ran my own, the first thing I would do is at the entrance, I would build a fake exit right next to the entrance, and then have actors come out of that exit either bloody, crying, or just hysterical.
I
Have
love
people
this
like prop
idea.
it open and like wheel someone out on a stretcher.
Yeah, like, oh my God, don't go in there, and then right before you go in.
Right. I like the stretcher.
I like this idea.
I dream about what I would do if I ran a haunted house like this.
It would be a dream job. Oh my gosh.
Look,
Let's do it, Aaron.
11 months out of the year, it's an escape room. And then for 1 month, October, you turn it into a haunted house.
That is not a bad idea.
Get
And
your
then-
business model.
You have a gift shop, and in the gift shop, you put like adult diapers.
Brandon, you're fired.
This is no, guys. This is Brandon's dream.
No, just think. You may need these because you will piss yourself.
I think I found a forum about adult diapers one time.
You found a
It
forum?
was not. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, okay.
Video games.
They exist.
I'm eating candy. That's Halloweenish.
Don't eat candy out while we're doing a podcast.
Guys, I didn't want to say anything, but if
Bad
you hear
radio.
some lip smacking, that is Brandon Becker.
Crunching.
Sweet tarts.
American author Brandon Becker eats
There's
some
no
sweet
candy.
tarts.
A lot of Put that box in the garbage.
Alrighty.
Oh no.
Snapped it right
Here
about
it is.
here.
You've also been fired from the podcast.
There goes the 3 subscribers that we had.
Video games came out on Friday. A lot of them.
Yeah.
For the first time.
Good ones.
They were.
In our lifetime, video games finally came out on our.
But they're notable in particular, I would say. Probably some of the biggest games this fall.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
this fall definitely, right?
yeah. And we played some of them.
We did?
Some of them.
Oh, yeah.
One of them. Oh yeah, two of them.
Two of
Two
them.
of them.
But first, Brandon, have you been playing anything?
Let's get the Brandon out of the way first. I've been playing more of Battle Chasers. So I had been streaming it, and I noticed a pattern of me streaming this game is I'll stream it, and people will jump in for only a minute or two, and they'll leave. I'm like, usually when I stream, people will stay for a while. Well, I discovered I was trying to Google, but I was trying to Google up hints, and I typed in Battle Crashers, and that's a game, another game, Cartoon Network. So, and I thought maybe that's why, because when I stream, I put Battle Crash instead of Battle Chasers. So people are thinking they're going into Battle Chasers, but they're getting Battle Crash
That's
Battle.
The opposite of what you said.
Yeah,
This is Battle Chase or something.
Battle Crash.
Come
Well, it's because
watch.
I'm Crypto Crash, and I thought, let's put two.
You thought it was your name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
very egomaniac.
You got to make sure you choose the game correctly. All right,
Yeah.
you
I
can't
ch-
control all of that, can you? You can title your stream, but you can't control what the game name is.
I think you can type it in, but I don't know if you have to select something from the list
But
or
if
not.
people are searching by
But-
name, then it would come up, I think.
You can see it. Yeah. I don't know.
You can't.
Or maybe your people are just bored watching the game.
You were catfishing people into your stream.
Catfishing. Yeah. Let's meet.
Let's meet.
Let's video chat.
Yeah. Let's.
Oh,
let's,
my camera doesn't work. I'm sorry.
Let's meet and play Battle Crashers.
And then they
show
get there, and like they see you, and they're like, "All right." And then you show them Battle Chasers, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I thought this was Battle Crashers.
This isn't what
You
I signed up
catfished
for."
me
Yeah. Catfish.
Well,
with the game."
I've always been a little self-conscious about battle chasers.
Have you been playing anything else?
No.
Okay.
Josh,
huh.
have you been playing anything other than the big game that we've all been playing?
No. Well, not all of us.
Mike, have you been playing anything else? Oh, you have.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
been playing something.
I have been playing
One
something.
of those games that we were speaking about.
Indeed, yes. Oh, you want me to talk about it?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
Yes, so that game is Wolfenstein 2: The New Colossus.
Mm-hmm.
It's Wolfenstein.
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 So it continues
All right,
the
what's
tradition
German for
of
two?
Mein Leben.
Ein
Anyways,
die?
Wolfenstein Vines.
so it continues the New Order's tradition of being offensively violent.
Are you offended by the violence?
Were you almost offended by the violence?
mean,
because that would be
Well,
significant.
so like I kind of was in the first one. Like there's moments in the first one where I was like, oh man. And I talked about it 3 years ago in the podcast where I was like, this is like on another level.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think like I've become more of a wuss over the years where like I don't really like super violent movies or super violent games as much. Like Gears of War is one thing because it's just monsters. But like this,
well, there's monsters.
well,
in
they are,
Wolfenstein.
I suppose. But the violence isn't always against the monsters, though. But, anyways, this game pulls no punches at all.
Mm-hmm.
Drops racial slurs. It drops Nazi imagery.
Mm-hmm.
It makes you really, really, really want to kill Nazis even more than you should naturally. Like it just makes you hate the enemies on just a whole nother level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like I would say that the bad guy in this game, probably one of the most evil video game bad guys ever. Even worse than Bowser.
Oh, my
Even
gosh.
worse, if you can imagine a thing.
Inconceivable.
But like I can't talk about like a lot of the stuff because it's best just to go in and just be shocked by it.
Mm-hmm.
But so like the gameplay is it's once again just super great. I mean, it runs on id6, which is the Doom engine from last year. So it runs like butter. It's super fast, and the encounter design is just really good because they throw in just a ton of different like enemy types. And of course, they have like the dogs that are in like Nazi jackets,
What?
which are cool. And, you know, and it like always switches up like kind of what you do. Like it's like, here's this like area where it's going to be just hardcore like Doom style action. And it is very Doomish where it's like you're running, like your character runs probably as fast as Doom guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, you know, mowing down guys and you can dual wield and you can like mix and match your weapons and stuff. And then you can like do stealth points too. So it's like there's always like these commanders, and if you can kill them before they sound the alarm, then you know you're usually free and clear. So it's like just trying to like get through an environment. But the thing I really like about it is just how open the levels are, and tons of secrets, much like in the original Wolfenstein. So there's lots of room to explore, and I've already been going through the progression list and I've missed pretty much everything. So I might have an incentive to go back and play it again.
Yeah.
If I can stomach some of this stuff. I think probably one of the things I appreciate about it the most is the fact that it's a first person shooter that's just dedicated to its single player,
Yeah.
which is becoming like a really rare thing. And there's no microtransactions. There's no online hook. No free-to-play elements or anything like that.
Yeah, Bethesda's been really good with that, with their, I guess, first-person games or first-person shooters like Doom. There wasn't a ton of incentive to spend extra money on Doom.
And neither with Dishonored.
Yeah.
That's funny because Bethesda was the first, at least with DLC, the horse armor.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, but they did that, and then, I don't know, it didn't seem like that it made a huge impression.
No,
Like they didn't all of a sudden base their economy on this kind of practice.
That's because they knew they opened Pandora's box, and then they needed to put a little bit of hope in there. And they were like, "Well, I guess our games could be that little bit of hope."
But yeah, speaking of hope, this game, not a lot of it. It's very, very dour, but like still has like really good injection of humor, just at like surprising moments, and it's like genuinely well written, and that's like the thing I think was the most important thing to carry over from the original is that the writing is just as strong, and BJ Blazkowicz continues to be one of the most like layered, well written, and well acted video game characters that I've come across. It's so surprising, and just like your weird band of characters that you like accumulate through your adventure, just all of them are like nuanced and, you know, have different sides to them. And it's not just like, oh, well, here's the typical like egghead character, so we're just going to fall into all the egghead tropes and stuff. It's like, no, you have that character, but there's lots of things to them. And that's the stuff I really got out of the first one, and that's the stuff I'm really liking about this one. One of my characters found a bunch of scratch and sniff strawberry stickers that are laced with LSD.
Oh boy.
And
That's that guy from the trailer.
he's like, yeah, which is the only reason why I'm talking about it.
Yep.
And oh man, the stuff he says, and like in the first game, he's like, you know, the Boy Scout, like Captain America, you know, like he's super clean. Like even in this game, he's like the one character who doesn't swear or anything. He's just like, oh golly guys, and oh gee heck. And now he's like getting hooked on LSD, and like no one really realizes it. And like the egghead thinks he's actually like communicating with another dimension. It's like gave him like this book that like will allow him to like explore like string theory and stuff. And the guy's just tripping out, but it's just stuff like that. But like,
That is probably my favorite scene from that whole trailer where he picks up that little lizard guy.
yeah, he's just like, what are you doing here?
Yeah, you're not supposed to be here.
But yeah, like the other cool thing is too, and this is something that, this group of developers, it's not, you know, that used to be with Starbreeze, and now I think this is Machine Head Games is the name of this. Like in Riddick and the Darkness, they like to break up the action with these kind of hub areas where you just explore an environment where all the NPCs are, and you talk to them, and you learn things about the world, and there's like lots of little things like news articles, and like you can, you know, like somebody will be talking about like, well, like in the first one, like Jimi Hendrix was like writing Nazi propaganda songs and stuff like that. And there's more of that in this. And it really like fleshes out the world, and it's like, makes it seem more plausible outside of the fact that it's just super absurd. Like it's a crazy balance that they've struck of going from talking about witnessing people who are dying of radiation burns to somebody discovering a flushable toilet that he hasn't seen in like 5 years and being super excited about that, or a guy licking strawberry scratch and sniff stickers. So yeah, I haven't gotten to like the big kind of like iconic part, which is Roswell. I just finished with New York, and I'm going to Roswell now. Roswell is the one you see in the trailer where the KKK guys are like arm in arm with like the Nazi guys and all that stuff. And it's like a little small town America, but it's like all twisted with Nazi symbolism. I haven't gotten quite there, so I'll have more to talk about next week.
About how much do you have left, do you think?
So my timer shows about 5 hours, and according to reviews, the average playthrough is about 15. So I'm only like a third through, and I probably could be exploring the environments and stuff a little bit better because I've missed so much stuff, like not so much things to read, but just like collectibles and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, if you're an FPS fan, this is a great one. I mean, the guns and shooting and everything feel great, and it's just, yeah, Bethesda with first-person shooters is just knocking it out of the park.
Definitely. Would you recommend someone go back and play that first one?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like I think that like the first one is probably, I mean, if it wasn't for Doom, it was probably one of the best, if not the best, first-person shooter this gen, just because of how original it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I would definitely say so. Just to experience the writing, man, those last few words at the end of the game are so well written. Like, friend of the show, Wyatt, he actually played it, and like as soon as he got to that end scene, he was like texting me. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe the writing in this because it's so good. It just goes beyond your typical video game."
Get to the end screen, it just says the end. You're like, guys.
Oh,
But dot.
Whoa.
not to drag Wolfenstein on too much longer, but you're inside this. Your hub is the submarine, and there's a Wolfenstein arcade cabinet that has the entire game of Wolfenstein on it.
I saw a clip of that.
Yeah,
That looked cool.
and,
I like that.
And when BJ starts it up, he's like, "Man, the graphics are so realistic." So
ridiculous.
Are there any other games besides?
Well, so Assassin's Creed Origins came out.
That was the other big game.
And it reviewed very well, and which was a relief, because Assassin's Creed games lately have been pretty up or down.
Yeah.
And I decided to hold off on it because one, I saw that there was some glitches and performance issues and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And Ubisoft is pretty good about being proactive and patching that stuff. So I'm like, well, I wasn't going to play it before Wolfenstein anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So let me play through Wolfenstein, and then I'll get Assassin's Creed. And then maybe by then, like a patch or two will be out. So I'll have more to talk about when I actually get around to playing it. It looks rad.
Yeah, I'm interested in checking both those games out.
Yeah, it looks like an Assassin's Creed game.
It does, but like a good one.
In Egypt.
I mean, they changed the combat and they added like leveling up and skill trees and all sorts of stuff. So I mean, it's sufficiently different.
It seems like more of an open world than before. Because before it always seemed really kind of closed off, and there was an open area you explore, but it never felt like a connected world. This feels like a connected world. They
weren't cohesive. They were like sections of this parts that you would go to were always locked off by story missions and stuff like that. So, but this one, it's like right off the bat, my understanding, you can go anywhere. You just might get crushed because of leveling stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've read a lot of like just, non-review impressions, and people are saying that they like it as much as 2. Like, I guess the story's not as good, but I think it would be really hard to top like Ezio and Assassin's Creed 2 story. But they're saying as far as like gameplay and world and the changes, the leap, it's like as good as 2 in that sense.
They mean when he leaps like off a building, it's like it's as good as 2.
Yes,
it's good as 2 because it's just the same animation in all of these games.
Yes.
Does anybody know if there is Animus stuff in this at all?
Yes,
there is.
I've seen nothing.
There is.
Is it a spoiler to say anything about it?
I don't think so.
I don't think at this
I
point.
don't think it's really that important, really.
The last one I heard was it was just some random employee at like a Ubisoft surrogate.
That was Black Flag.
The past couple ones might have been like that.
Is this one similar?
I don't think so. I think it's. I don't know any details other than like maybe the name of the person.
I've been purposely avoiding all that stuff. So
Okay, sounds good.
Well, I have been playing one other game besides the big one, Fire Emblem Warriors.
I saw that last
Switch.
night.
For the Switch. and it's also available on the 3DS. But this is a new game that's like the Dynasty Warriors game series. Also, Hyrule Warriors they made for the Wii U, which features all the characters. It's basically the same as that, but featuring Fire Emblem characters. And those games are always really solid. Just combat, going around fighting hundreds of guys at one time with ridiculous combos and over the top super meters and stuff like that. But they always manage to, when they create a game in this template using a license, they'll always try to like twist it to fit like the gameplay into that world. Like Hyrule Warriors, focused a lot on finding items and stuff like that and unlocking, pathways.
Yeah.
In this, they focus on strategy and teaming up with certain characters, which you do in the Fire Emblem games, the strategy games. And in Fire Emblem, they have a weapon triangle where, swords will be good against, I think, axes. And then axes are good against spears, and then spears are good against swords or something. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but that
Which is why you're failing at
well, I just don't remember off the top of my head. It'll tell you in the game, but they took that weapon triangle and applied it to this type of game. So the characters fall into these categories, and then they'll be strong or weak against certain characters. And so that's been transferred over, and it's good.
Is it no? Is it because they've made a lot of these recently where they've taken a license and applied it to
It's very, there's a lot of them.
Yeah. There's so many.
Prolific.
And it's ingenious because they've been making the same game for so many years. And they're like, well, guys, we can still make the same game if we change our characters. And they're like, oh, we can do it.
But I mean, they're fundamentally different on some level.
Yeah.
And I know Dragon Quest Heroes is very much like an RPG. And that's what appeals to me about that class of Dynasty, or what do you call them? Musou?
Muso is
Muso.
the name in Japanese.
Right. And they've done a great job of keeping their thing fresh, which they hadn't done for years. They were like, every time you played a game, there were slightly different mechanics, but it was the
like
same game.
Dynasty Warriors 7.
Yeah.
It was like the same thing.
And I think whoever took it in this direction was a genius because they get to experiment with their formula while still making so much money and making games that are fun. So, because those games are fun. It's just by the time I reach the 7th one, it's like, well,
you're doing this again.
Yeah, here we go.
And it can be repetitive.
Yeah,
going through, and you're just capturing forts, going through corridors, and if it's the kind of game that I can just like put on a podcast or listen to something else and play. So I enjoy it in that respect. I'm almost done with it. I'll probably do a review and put it up on YouTube pretty shortly.
On Laser Ramon
on YouTube. And then the only other game I've been playing besides like Stardew Valley still is the new game that came out on Friday for Nintendo Switch, Super Mario Odyssey.
Woohoo.
Woohoo. Wahoo.
Wow.
Wahoo.
Waha.
It's a me. Oh, Josh, you've been playing it.
Yes.
You haven't played it at all, Mike?
No, I mean, with the grace of Josh, I'm just waiting for him to finish so that
Waiting
I can
for him to
play.
die.
Yeah.
To pass and leave him in his will.
Pass on.
I guess I should say I'm only assuming he's going to let me play it, but because he let me play Zelda, I'm really hoping. Please, Josh, let me play it.
Of course not. I will
Mike,
never let you play.
Do you want a Switch?
Oh, wait, are you offering me one?
No.
Oh, I don't know. Like, I mean...
Is there another game besides Zelda and Mario that would be like, okay, I'm going to get a Switch for this?
I mean, I think Mario plus Rabbids looks really cool. Metroid Prime 4, of course, because I love that series. No, not... I mean, I feel like now we're kind of going into that Nintendo dark era where it's like you don't know what else is coming out, and that's always kind of scary.
That's true for next year. Brandon, you almost bought a Switch today.
Yeah. The only reason I got myself not to is I said I wanted to sleep on it. But I think I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm going to buy it between now and April. And
was there any games particularly you want to play besides?
oh, absolutely. I want to play Mario plus Rabbids.
Uh-huh.
I want to play I Am Setsuna.
Uh-huh.
And I like the on-the-go feature
Yeah.
because my job allows me to kind of spend some time.
You've been playing
Downtime.
a lot of Vita.
Or I went from Vita to 3DS. I played a lot of 3DS. I don't even use my Vita anymore because I can use my tablet now to watch Hulu. But
I was looking at my bank account, I'm not going to lie, on Friday and being like, I could afford this, but it's like,
yeah, I think because I'm playing Battle Chasers, I'm not done with it. I'm at the end. I'm max level, but I can't beat it. It's that hard.
Oh boy.
And so I'm trying to up my loot, my stats and my gear, so to speak, and probably come up with a new strategy. But I also Xenoblade 2.
Uh-huh.
If that was out right now, I would have already bought it.
It's coming out pretty soon, but
Yeah, December 1st,
Yeah.
I believe. So yeah, that. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Next year we haven't had any announcements, but I feel like they're going to start announcing stuff at the beginning of this next year.
yeah, I think this big thing was getting their holiday games out of the way. So, maybe after Xenoblade comes out, they might start talking about the future.
Next year.
Mario Kart 8.
Yeah. It's good.
It's a great game.
oh yeah, that's right. And I'm assuming Smash will eventually make its way.
Probably.
They actually just patched the Switch firmware to allow use of the USB GameCube adapter.
yeah.
Ah,
And you can just use the GameCube controller on games.
Yeah.
Like it
It
just
just
straight up
registers
works.
as
Really?
a USB like Pro controller.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So, something. But Mario Odyssey is fantastic.
It came out reviewed.
poorly.
Everybody gave it a 9 instead of a 10.
Yeah.
What a poor review. Actually, that's not even true.
No, it's not even
It's
true.
like a 97
Everyone gave it a 10
or something.
instead of an 11 out of 10.
What was the last game that reviewed this highly?
Zelda.
Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, was it?
Zelda reviewed
Yeah.
higher, I feel.
Really?
I think.
No, they're both at 97.
Oh, are they?
Oh.
Yeah, because some haters came in at the end of Breath of the Wild. And
That's the thing, though. But when it first rolled out, Zelda, I think, was
Yeah.
reviewed higher. It's Mario 64.
It's not even that. It's like it's better.
Yeah. But it's like, it's more. It's like, this is... I don't like the Galaxy games. And not because I don't think they're good Mario games, but because I don't like the feel of them. I like being able to run wherever I want to run. I don't like the idea that they're
kind
courses.
of enclosed.
They're courses.
Yeah.
Which is like old Mario games, which is not a problem. But with the introduction of 3D, I really wanted like Super Mario 64 did, where you go into an expansive thing that has lots of different things to do, which is funny because I don't like open world. But in this, I do, because you have little objectives that you get to do. And 64 did it really well, and then they took it to Galaxy, which, from all reviews, all points of life, people love that game. And I just don't like it because it is such an enclosed piece. And this is kind of back to form. Even 3D World isn't what I'm looking for.
3D World is definitely more like course based.
Right. It's not what I was looking for. And this is, here's just an expansive place with lots of interesting little features and lots of little secrets, which is what I love.
I was really surprised about how clever some of the secrets were. Where it's just like you're doing something and you think, it reminded me of Zelda, where it's like, I wonder if I do this, I'll get something, and then you do. It's like
it's just
pretty much all the time.
intuitive
Yeah.
by the nature of
Yeah, you go somewhere and you look
geography.
at something, you're like, oh, that's odd. Like, why would that be here? and it's something.
I played for 5 hours so far, and then I watched Jen play it a couple days ago, and she was just like running around being really meticulous, and found something I never just completely overlooked. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. I had no idea this was in there.
Yeah.
It's full of stuff like that.
Yeah, and the controls feel really good. Of
Yeah.
course, it's just spot on. There's no problems with anything. There's one problem that I have
Motion controls?
for the tank specifically.
Oh, really?
You can possess a tank, and I feel like it does not respond as well to the motion.
The stick?
Yeah, the aiming. The stick is great.
Well, you can motion aim.
I know, and that's what I feel. It doesn't track
Because I was
one-to-one.
using the stick and I was having a hard time, and then I realized you can move with the controller.
So what I do is I stick from left to right and controller up and down.
Okay.
So I have a hybrid technique that I use.
Weird.
Hybrid.
It works. It works really well. But when I was trying to use one or the other, I was having problems.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the way I put my hands, like I throw that hat at the drop of a hat. I throw it all the time. Because
Josh plays with split Joy-Cons, and he'll like just rest his right arm over the top of his head.
my left
you can
arm's
picture
usually
this,
over
or
the top
left.
of my head,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes the right.
So yeah, it's as ridiculous as it sounds when you're trying to picture this in your head.
It's so comfortable. It's the comfiest way.
You're freaking weird.
All controllers should be split into two.
It's funny. I've seen you play Batman with a PS4 controller, and I just saw. I mean, you had played Batman so much, and then I just see you watching the screen, and Batman is playing, and I'm like, "Why are you watching it?" And your hands were behind your head, and you're like, "Oh, I'm playing."
Yeah, literally behind my head, like you could not see the controller. It's like you were laying. It's like I was
laying on your hands,
laying on my hands. It was like a typical, like a stereotypical scene of somebody who's like being leisurely about something.
Mhm.
And I just had my hands behind my head. I
Feet
was like,
kicked up.
Yeah, feet kicked up because I was on the recliner. And no, I was playing the game. It was the most comfortable way to play that game. I know where the buttons are. But yeah, Odyssey.
The music in this game is so good.
Yes, it is.
There's one world in particular, the is it Steam Gardens or whatever?
I don't know the names of the worlds, to be honest.
The forest with the machines
Yeah.
in the machine area. I love the music there.
I don't notice world music for the most part. In that one, I noticed. I was like,
oh, what is this?
and it will also transition at times.
Yeah.
Like the games, when you go to different areas, it transitions. It doesn't cut the scene, but the music changes, and you know you're in a new area at that point.
I also noticed, because I watched Josh play quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
like Josh got to a really high point on the map, and as he got higher and higher, the music got fainter and fainter. And it just really gave like a scale of just how high up he was. And I was like, oh, that's such a Nintendo touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This game is
Nintendo
full
touch.
of
That's a good.
little like Nintendo touches.
Oh, and the other cool thing is, so there's these, green tubes you can go into, and it'll actually convert you into like side-scrolling 8-bit Mario.
Yeah.
And when you do that, the music turns into chiptune, which is also super cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Why did
It's like a link between worlds.
Aaron's glasses just self-destructed on his face?
I felt something fall off the side of my head, and I was like, "What?" And I noticed my glasses were still on, so I was like, "Well, that can't be it." And sure enough, it was one of the little
I
things.
thought you had a pencil in your ear or something. Like
That's what it felt like. Excuse me while I go pick this.
I'll talk about Mario for a little bit.
But yeah, the fact that the music transitions into 8-bit and stuff, and then just like the variety of activities that you do, which that's what I loved so much about Mario Galaxy. Like those are my favorite Mario games.
Mm-hmm.
But just the fact that at any given moment, like they introduce some new mechanic, and then they never have you do it for too long,
Yeah.
and then they never have you do it too many times.
Yeah.
So it's always just like the right amount, and it's like right when you start to feel, okay, I think I might be done with this, then it's on to something brand new.
It's
It's called the Goldilocks method.
Yeah.
where you try a bunch of different beds and then some bears eat you. The one part of that is the Jaxi in the in the Mexican world. I don't even know what to call it. Tostarino, whatever. The stereotypical Mexican world with guys shaking maracas 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a part where you can't walk around at night that much because there are these zombie things that pop up, and they suck. Like it is, like they will kill you pretty quickly, just because they just pop up randomly, and as soon as you touch them, you take a hit. You can only take 3 hits before you. And when you die in this game, you lose. I don't know how many it is.
10
20?
coins?
10, I think.
coins.
10 coins. Which is nice because it makes the coins actually do something. But it's not too harsh a penalty because I don't think anybody's ever played Mario and been like, oh, I've just completely ran out of lives. Like people have, but if you've played Mario long enough, you always have enough lives to die a few times. And so having it be coins is great. I bought the boxer shorts, which are 1,000 gold, and I was down to 200 gold. But I was like, oh, I better make sure I collect the coins to get myself back up to that 1,000. That just very comfy.
Mm-hmm.
I can die
lives.
I can die 100 times in a row. And then I thought about it, and I was like, it wasn't out of place for me when playing a Mario game to have 100 lives.
Yeah,
like that's pretty normal.
Well, like Galaxy, you start off with 3 lives even after you save it. Every time you start it, doesn't matter how many lives you had before.
Mm-hmm.
Always start with 3. But you collect so many extra lives in that game that you could play it for 30 minutes and then, now I have 60 extra lives.
Yeah.
And it almost became where it was like pointless.
Yep.
And it's like, why do they even have these 1-ups? It's just kind of almost out of tradition at this point. So
Yeah.
I like this solution.
Yeah, the coins, because the coins for a long time didn't do anything. And now you can buy things in your lives, which is great. But anyway, the Jinx, the Jaxi, that's what it's called. It's hard to control, and it's fast. And like you said, it's a new mechanic to drive this thing around. It keeps you safe from these night monsters. And I rode it long enough to get to the end of that sequence. So I needed to ride the Jaxi really to get anywhere safely. And then I beat him, and it transitioned the world to where the monsters didn't come out anymore. And I was like, oh, well, I don't need to ride the Jaxi anymore. It was hard, and it was interesting. It was a new mechanic, but I didn't have to use it forever. Like, I didn't have to drive it anywhere I needed to go. And he's still there if I want to, because there's still Jaxi-specific things.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like you said, they introduced mechanic. They didn't beat you over the head. I haven't run into a guy like that in any other world. He's right there for those specific things.
Yeah.
That's great.
Nintendo's so smart that way. And like Breath of the Wild did stuff like that too, where it's like, oh, we'll just introduce these things, but we'll never have you do it for too long. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just, oh man. It's like you look at Ubisoft open world games. I know we were just talking about Assassin's Creed.
Yeah.
But it's like they introduce a thing and then they're like, now we will make you play this thing for 30 hours.
And it does the thing where, it's got a sort of open world style map. You can go anywhere in that section, but it doesn't populate the map with little things. All you have is like one big waypoint.
Yeah.
That it's telling you to go somewhere, and you'll find a million things on the way.
Yeah. The Mario game shows you the next big objective you need to do by having a pillar of light. And if you head to the pillar of light, you'll progress. But there's so many other things just in the area. So it's like, hey, here's where you need to go, but do whatever you feel like.
Mm-hmm.
And you, like you said, you look at the map and there's waypoints where you can jump to different waypoints, which is kind of fun. Which I didn't know about until I opened the map.
Oh yeah.
But because I kept trying to get to the top of this tower that I'd gotten to the top of. I was like, man, I hate going through this. And then one time I looked at my map and I was like, oh, I don't have to do that anymore. I can just jump straight to the top of that tower. It's so good. But yeah, it's a good game. Nintendo is
a very good game developer.
Yep.
Yeah, and an okay console maker.
I don't know. I'd say the Switch is
Switch is great.
Switch is the first time I've actually considered getting a Nintendo console since the GameCube.
And that's what makes them an okay console developer. They're great at video games, and their console strategies and the changes in their ideas are innovative, but Some like Wii U. I never felt like getting a Wii U.
I think they're behind the times, but they're catching up in the sense of digital library.
Yeah,
That's true.
Because like I had mentioned earlier, we were having a conversation,
Yeah.
is that if you lose your console, you lose your entire library. And
Well, that's not true with the Switch, though.
oh,
so that's what I wasn't sure about.
Yeah,
So- This conversation.
it's tied to your Nintendo account.
so okay, great. So then, if your Switch dies, you can just get a new Switch and then re-download all those games.
You can re-download the games. The only thing that doesn't carry over is the save data.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's fine.
But then you can transfer save data if you have the two Switches available.
But like you said, they're getting there.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So Nintendo.
Switch is going to be next.
And their games are always so polished too. Like Breath of the Wild was
Yeah.
so systems driven and like with physics and all these things that interact and a million things that could break.
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was one time I got stuck in something out of the 85 hours that I played it. And that was it.
Mm-hmm.
It's always so weird when I watch a video of people showing glitches in Nintendo games. And I'm like, how did you possibly like?
No, it's all lies.
It's so weird. It's foreign to me.
I wonder if they just their developing is kind of in reverse because, I feel in this generation of consoles, PlayStation, I don't know if a game's going to run well. It may not even run 30 frames a second. It's like, man, this game runs like garbage. But Nintendo, I know Xenoblade just got a new patch for graphical upgrade. So it looks like they wanted performance over quality or image.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So
They start with performance first, and then they do quality after.
I mean, I think Nintendo falls in the line of Blizzard where let's make it aesthetically pleasing without it being complicated.
Yeah.
Like Overwatch, not like pushing the boundaries of tech, but it runs at 60 frames and will probably never look old because the characters and the art style will save it. And it's like, I could go back and play Mario Galaxy now, like on your Wii U, and I guarantee that game will still hold up.
Yeah, it'll look great.
It'll still look great because Nintendo goes for the art. Like it's all about art design and stuff. Like Breath of the Wild, I could see that holding up for years and years and years and years because they go with that cartoony kind of, look as opposed to going for just like realism.
Yeah. They don't go for the gritty feel.
Yeah.
They go for the polished
But
feel.
because of that, they don't have to push so many effects and polygons and stuff, so their games aren't burdened by all that tech.
Yeah.
So they can make things run better and look and smoother and stuff. So it's like Blizzard games are always super polished and they always get like all the reviewers and stuff always get oh man, it's so polished. And it's like, yeah, because it's not like trying to look photorealistic or have all these crazy physics and stuff. They're just make it as simple as you can so you get optimized performance.
Yeah. I was watching, I was looking at a review for something, and then I read the comments, and it was, I think it was for like Assassin's Creed, and somebody gave it like the equivalent of a 7 or something like that. And they're like, oh, I bet you're going to give Mario like a 10. And it's like, probably, because it's going to not have a lot of problems. It's going to be what you want.
I mean, listen, I'm excited to play Assassin's Creed, but come on. Like
Yeah.
Mario's going to flatten that game.
Yeah, in terms of, just like
Everything.
You could drop that game off a building and it'll be perfectly fine when it hits the floor. Assassin's Creed, you drop from the top of a building, and you're going to have to pick up some pieces afterwards.
Assassin's Creed is also a series that has a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah.
Mario, I mean, how can you improve on Mario? You just change its...
I'll tell you what, Super Mario 64, Sunshine Galaxy, every time you got a star or a shine, it kicked you out to the hub world. Not in Odyssey.
Yeah, that's great.
Oh,
You just keep going.
That's really
oh,
cool.
wow. I
The
didn't-
one thing that kicks you that annoys me is when you buy the moon from the hat store. There's always a moon in the hat store whenever you go to a world. And when you buy it, it kicks you out of the hat store. And so that you
Like,
can do your little moon
Get
animation.
your moon and get out.
Yeah. So that's the only time that ever kicks you anywhere. It's good. You get a little animation, your little hat pal shows up, and you're like, hey, and you're like, hey, and then you're good to go.
Is Cappy cool?
Gabby's fine.
Um,
I don't. He doesn't have as much personality as I thought, but I think they want to make sure he's not annoying. He's not annoying. He's not intrusive.
He's not talking all the time.
Yeah, he's not being like, we need to do all these things.
He's not like, hey, listen.
Yeah,
You'll chill out when you move to the next country and get on your ship. You'll sit in chairs, big nice chairs, and you just hang out and you talk.
yeah. And it was like, hey, here's a move you can do, and he'll tell you like a ground pound or something like that. And there's a lot of moves. I read the action manual that's in there, and you can spin. Did you know you could spin?
Yep.
Yeah, you just kind of like twirl the controller and you put your arms out and you just start spinning.
Oh, like in Galaxy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it does yet.
You'll like hover down. if
Oh,
you
really?
fall, yeah.
No, that's nice.
Can you spin attack with it as well, or?
You might be able to. I haven't tried.
You created a whirlpool in the water.
Could. Who knows?
Who knows?
I didn't actually try it while I was in the water. Maybe.
Have you ever jumped on your hat? I've never seen you
Yes.
do that. Okay.
It's not as easy as I thought it was going to be, or maybe I'm just not good at it. Or maybe it's because I keep using the motion control to throw my hat. And so that's like, maybe if I use the buttons, it would be easier for me to kind of line up the jump in my head. Does that make sense? Because when you throw it, you've moved your hand at this point. And so I feel like that's...
Okay.
Well, I'm telling you, after playing Wolfenstein, I'm gonna need something fun and light. I need a Mario.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna need that palate cleanser.
Yes.
I'm reading the science fiction equivalent of Odyssey. The moon has broken up into 7 pieces,
Oh, yeah.
but it destroyed the Earth.
Oh.
Hmm.
So it's like the equivalent of Odyssey and Wolfenstein together.
Yeah. It's called Seven Eves by Neil Stevenson. But anyway.
Can you spin jump in that?
Hell yeah. No, I don't.
Well, that's probably it for us. Holiday gaming season is winding down.
Yeah. Well, I still have Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2.
Yep.
You're going to play Call of Duty this year?
No.
No. What else is left? Xenoblade?
So
Yes.
for me, Assassin's Creed,
Mm-hmm.
Battlefront, and then I'm good. And
Glasses.
I desperately, and I don't think it's gonna happen, but I really want to finish Nier before the year is over.
I
because
barely even touched it.
I don't want the story to be spoiled in all the Game of the Year discussions.
I
Yeah.
should play Horizon. Like, I should probably play that game. I own it.
Yeah?
People are going to talk about it.
But you don't like it, and then when it comes to our Game of the Year, I don't want you being like, "No, it should not be recognized." Bro.
Sounds just like him.
Well, let's back up. I don't like the open world aspect,
Sure.
but I like the story.
Yeah.
So I think if I played it and I streamlined it instead of going to every nook and cranny like I
Yes.
do in most games,
That is what
Yeah.
you should do.
I would probably enjoy it a lot more.
Yes. Play it as a linear game, and you'll like it.
If I just need to ignore that girl yelling at me from across the river.
Yes.
Hey.
I haven't figured out how to get up to her,
Hey.
and like she just doesn't stop.
She is so loud,
Yeah.
and you're nowhere near her, which
I
you can
figured
hear.
out how
her.
to do it.
I mean, I figured it out too, but she's so loud.
I got a platinum in that game. I know how to do everything.
You got a platinum?
Yes, it's my only platinum.
Good.
Oh, actually,
That's
speaking
impressive.
of Horizon, I'm glad you brought that up. There is an expansion that is coming out in November,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
so I'm going to play that as well.
That's what I was going to say.
Yes.
The Horizon expansion's coming
Yes.
out. And that story ends with enough stuff left unresolved that I'm sure it's going to be.
One major thing. It actually does have a satisfying ending. So you're not just like, oh man.
Yeah, but it has like
just enough.
It has like a Stranger Things kind of ending.
Yeah, it's just
Like
enough.
a Stranger Things 1 kind of ending where you get enough for
Yeah.
Stranger Things 2.
I'm gonna need to go to the optometrist to get my prescription because I need new glasses.
Oh no.
It's gonna be weird though. 'Cause
Man, everything's falling apart today for you.
my optometrist's secretary is my ex-girlfriend.
Uh-oh.
Oh,
All you need
awkward.
is your prescription
Hmm.
and then buy them online where they're going to be so
Yeah.
much cheaper.
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
So like when she fixed your vision, you're like, why am I dating you? No, just kidding. So-
Just go in there and wear a mustache over your mustache. You'll be unrecognizable.
Smart.
Just wear some Groucho Marx glasses, but then they'll be really confused when they take a look at your glasses. These don't have a lens in them. Game Rushmore. That's not what I meant to say.
Game Rushmore.
You could
Find us
have said it. What's wrong with saying it?
What I meant to say was at Game Rushmore on Twitter.
You should have just said GameRushmore.onsouthernroad.com.
Oh, yeah. GameRushmore.onsouthernroad.com. I should have started with that one.
Saved.
Mm-hmm.
Smooth.
Well, not really.
We'll edit this whole thing out.
Nope.
GameRushmore.onsouthernroad.com, at Game Rushmore on Twitter, GameRushmore@gmail.com for all comments and questions. And, if you want to, sponsor us.
Yeah.
We'll take it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$50.
We'll plug you.
Yeah.
Give us a Switch. We'll review it. We'll play it.
Again, Nintendo, your Switches aren't selling enough. Come advertise with us.
We'll get the word out.
Yep.
On Southern Road on Facebook, youtube.com/On Southern Road on YouTube. And from there, you can get a link to Laser Ramon.
Oh, yeah, on YouTube. I have reviews up there. And then twitch.tv/Laser Ramon. I'm going to be streaming more.
Cool.
I watched some of your stream,
Mm-hmm.
but then I was like, I don't want to be spoiled. Oh, I know. Actually, I'll talk to you after the podcast. So.
Okay.
Do you know what your stream is, Brandon?
What?
You stream.
Yeah,
Do I know
plug your
what?
stream.
Do I know what?
What's your name on Twitch? I assume you're streaming
Crypto
on Twitch.
Crash, maybe? I don't know. I go through my PS4.
Guys,
And
look up Crypto Crash maybe.
Don't look up
On
what the
Twitch.
game he's playing because it's going to be
don't
listed
look at
wrong.
the subtitle.
Go there and
I'll be like, Xbox One plays.
I stream Overwatch every now and then.
yeah, Mike, what's your handle?
Wouldn't you like to know?
I need to get a camera and then
Like
or
that
a
one?
mic or something like that, yeah. Or no, a PS4 camera.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. That'll work.
And then be like, hello, welcome to my stream.
Oh, why are you Australian?
Because keep it real.
Goodbye.
Australian for games.
Go downstairs while you guys are eating and open up YouTube and recommended John Cena Reacts. And I'm like, oh, I like John Cena. So I start watching it. And he sits down. He's in this empty sound stage. And this guy comes over and hands him this letter about, a kid who was like an orphan and had nowhere to go and how he overcame because, John Cena was always never give up. So he never gave up, and now he's, turned his life around. And story after story ends with this laptop video message for John Cena and this kid's like, my mom was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I didn't think I had the strength, and the kid's crying when he's saying this, and John Cena is doing everything he can to hold back. It's very heartwarming. And anyways, the kid's like, I was at a wrestling show and I was the kid that got your wristband. And when my mom went in to have the operation, I gave her the wristband. And now she's cancer free. And John Cena is just like, oh, that's such a good person. He's at the brink. And then, they had this poster in the back. And the kid walks through it. And John Cena's just like, what the? And then the kid's just like, oh, I just wanted to thank you. And John Cena's like, no. And he runs over and he gives the kid a big hug. And then his mom comes out and she still has the wristband, but they put it in a little case. And so he gives her a big hug. And then everyone who wrote him a letter comes out.
Oh, wow.
And he's just waterworks at this point. And I was a mess. If you guys had come down right after you were finished eating, you would have found a disaster. Because I was just oh my God, it was like onions in there. I was like, oh, this is the most heartwarming thing ever.
That's the thing, Mike. You had just cut onions.
That's true.
You could have covered it.
Oh, it turns out I'm a heartless monster.
It was just these onions.